Hello there. Let's talk about something that looms large for many of us as we approach or navigate our retirement years: Medicare. Does that word sometimes feel like a bit of a maze? Perhaps you're nearing your 65th birthday, and suddenly your mailbox is overflowing with information, brochures, letters, official-looking documents, all talking about parts, plans, premiums, and penalties. Or maybe you've been enrolled in Medicare for some time, but you still find yourself wondering if you truly understand all the different pieces, if you made the right choices, or if there's something you might be missing. You are certainly not alone in feeling this way. For so many people, Medicare can seem complex, even intimidating, and it's completely understandable to feel a little uncertain about it all. Think about it. This isn't just another piece of paperwork. Medicare is fundamentally about your health and well-being, arguably the most important things as we age. It's the system designed to help ensure you have access to the doctors, hospitals, and treatments you might need down the road. Having the right coverage isn't just about paying bills. It's about having peace of mind. It's about knowing that if a health issue arises, big or small, you have a pathway to get the care you need without facing potentially devastating financial consequences. In our later years, predictability and security become even more valuable. We want to focus on enjoying our families, our hobbies, our hard-earned retirement, not worrying constantly about the what-ifs of healthcare costs. Understanding Medicare is a critical step towards achieving that sense of security and maintaining your independence. It's a cornerstone of responsible financial planning for this chapter of life, helping you budget effectively and protect your savings. It's perfectly natural to feel a bit overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information and the weight of the decisions involved. You might hear different advice from friends or family members, see conflicting commercials on television, or read articles that seem to contradict each other. You encounter an alphabet soup: Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D. And then there are Medigap plans, Advantage plans, different enrollment periods with specific deadlines. It's a lot to take in. Many people worry about making the wrong choice. Will I pick a plan that doesn't cover my doctor? What if I need a specific medication? Am I going to pay more than I need to? Will I face penalties if I don't sign up at the right time? These are valid concerns, and they reflect the importance of these decisions. I remember talking with a friend recently who was helping her father navigate his initial enrollment. She described spreading dozens of papers across his kitchen table, both of them feeling confused and anxious, worried about making a mistake that could impact his health and finances for years to come. This experience is shared by millions. It's a significant transition, and the system, while designed to help, doesn't always feel user-friendly at first glance. There's a learning curve, and acknowledging that is the first step. You don't need to become an overnight expert, but gaining a solid understanding of the basics can make a world of difference. So, let's take a deep breath together. Our goal here isn't to add to the confusion, but to gently untangle it. Think of this as a friendly conversation, where we can break down Medicare into understandable pieces. We're going to walk through it step by step, calmly and clearly. Over the next little while, we'll explore the essential components of Medicare together. We'll start by looking closely at those core building blocks. Part A, which generally covers hospital stays. Part B, which typically covers doctor visits and outpatient care. Part D, which helps with prescription drug costs. And Part C, also known as Medicare Advantage, which offers an alternative way to receive your Medicare benefits through private insurance plans. We'll discuss what each part generally covers, how it's funded, and what costs you might expect, like premiums, deductibles, and co-payments. We'll try to make sense of how these parts fit together to form your overall healthcare coverage. Once we have a clearer picture of what Medicare is, we'll move on to the equally crucial question of how and when to enroll. Getting the timing right is incredibly important to avoid potential gaps in coverage and late enrollment penalties that could affect you for the rest of your life. We'll discuss the initial enrollment period around your 65th birthday, special enrollment periods that might apply if you're still working or have other specific circumstances, and the general enrollment period. We'll also touch upon the different choices you have during these periods, such as choosing between Original Medicare, Parts A and B, possibly supplemented with a Medigap policy, and Part D, or opting for a Medicare Advantage plan, Part C. We'll aim to clarify the implications of these choices and the factors you might want to consider based on your personal health needs, budget, and preferences. The journey through Medicare doesn't have to be a solitary or stressful one. By breaking it down, understanding the fundamentals, and knowing your options and deadlines, you can approach these decisions with greater confidence. Our purpose here is to provide you with clear, reliable information in a way that feels supportive and manageable. We want to empower you to make informed choices that are right for you, leading to the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're properly prepared for your healthcare needs. Let's begin this journey together, starting with the very foundation of the Medicare system. We'll take our time, ensure clarity, and hopefully by the end of our discussion, you'll feel much more comfortable and knowledgeable about this vital program. All right, now that we've acknowledged why understanding Medicare is so important for your peace of mind and financial security, let's delve into the actual building blocks of the system. Think of it like constructing something sturdy and reliable. You need to know what each piece does and how it fits with the others. We'll start with the foundation, often referred to as Original Medicare, which consists of Part A and Part B. Part A. Hospital insurance. First up is Medicare. Part A. This is often called hospital insurance, and for good reason. Its primary role is to help cover costs associated with inpatient care. This means if you are formally admitted to a hospital for treatment, Part A steps in to help pay for things like your semi-private room, meals, nursing services, and necessary drugs and supplies you receive while you're an inpatient. It also extends coverage to care in a skilled nursing facility, SNF. But it's crucial to understand the specific conditions here. This isn't for long-term custodial care, like help with bathing or dressing over many months or years. Instead, Part A covers SNF care only if you've had a qualifying inpatient hospital stay of at least 3 consecutive days beforehand, and you need continued skilled nursing or therapy services related to that hospital stay. Think wound care or physical therapy after surgery. Part A can also cover some hospice care for individuals certified as terminally ill, focusing on comfort and palliative care rather than curative treatment. Lastly, under certain conditions, it can cover some part-time or intermittent skilled care provided in your home if you are homebound and need services like skilled nursing or therapy. Now, how do you get Part A? And what does it cost? Here's some good news. For most people, Part A is premium-free. If you or your spouse paid Medicare taxes while working for a sufficient period, usually about 10 years or 40 quarters, you generally won't have to pay a monthly premium for Part A when you become eligible. This is a significant benefit earned through years of work. However, premium-free doesn't mean entirely cost-free when you actually use the services. There are costs you might encounter. The most significant is the Part A deductible. This isn't an annual deductible like you might be used to with other insurance. Instead, it applies per benefit period. A benefit period begins the day you're admitted as an inpatient to a hospital or SNF and ends once you haven't received any inpatient hospital or skilled nursing care for 60 consecutive days. If you have to go back into the hospital after those 60 days, a new benefit period starts, and you would pay the deductible again. For 2024, this deductible is $1,032. If your hospital stay lasts longer than 60 days within a single benefit period, you'll also start paying a daily coinsurance amount, which increases significantly after 90 days, tapping into what are called lifetime reserve days. Similarly, for skilled nursing facility care, Part A covers the first 20 days in full within a benefit period, after the qualifying hospital stay. But then you pay a daily coinsurance for days 21 through 100. After day 100, Part A coverage for SNF care in that benefit period ends. For example, imagine John has a surgery requiring a 5-day hospital stay. He'd pay the $1,132 deductible for Part A. If he then needs 30 days of SNF care afterward, Part A covers the first 20 days, but he'd pay a daily coinsurance, around $204 per day in 2024, for days 21 through 30. Understanding this benefit period concept and the associated deductibles and coinsurance is key to anticipating potential costs under Part A. Part B, medical insurance next. Let's talk about Medicare Part B. This is the medical insurance part of original Medicare. While Part A covers inpatient hospital and facility care, Part B is designed to cover medically necessary services and supplies needed for diagnosing or treating your medical condition on an outpatient basis. This includes visits to your primary care doctor and specialists, outpatient hospital services, like emergency room visits, observation stays that don't involve formal admission or outpatient surgeries, lab tests, x-rays, and durable medical equipment, DME, like walkers, wheelchairs, or oxygen equipment prescribed by your doctor for use at home. Critically, Part B also covers many preventive services, often at no cost to you. These include things like flu shots, mammograms, colonoscopies, diabetes screenings, and an annual wellness visit with your doctor to develop or update a personalized prevention plan. Taking advantage of these preventive services is one of the best ways to stay healthy and potentially catch issues early. Unlike Part A, most people do pay a monthly premium for Part B. For 2024, the standard monthly premium is $174.70. Although this amount can be higher for individuals with higher incomes, this is known as the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, or IRMAA. The government looks at your tax return from 2 years prior to determine if you'll pay a higher premium. This premium is often deducted directly from your Social Security benefit payment, making it feel somewhat automatic for many retirees. Besides the monthly premium, Part B also has costs when you use services. There's an annual deductible, which is $240 for 2024. After you've met this deductible for the year, you typically pay 20% of the Medicare-approved amount for most doctor services, outpatient therapy, and DME. Medicare pays the remaining 80%. This 20% is often referred to as coinsurance. It's important to note that there's no annual limit on your out-of-pocket costs for this 20% coinsurance under Original Medicare, Parts A and B alone. If you have significant health needs requiring frequent doctor visits, tests, or outpatient treatments, that 20% can add up considerably over the year. This is a primary reason why many people choose to get supplemental coverage, which we'll touch upon later. Imagine Sarah, who manages her diabetes with regular doctor visits and needs specific medical supplies. She pays her monthly Part B premium. Each year, she first pays the $240 deductible out-of-pocket. After that, for each doctor visit or supply order, Medicare pays 80% of the approved amount, and Sarah is responsible for the remaining 20%. Part D, prescription drug coverage. Now, let's address something essential for nearly everyone: prescription medications. You might have noticed that neither Part A nor Part B generally covers the prescriptions you pick up at the pharmacy and take at home. That's where Medicare Part D comes in. Part D provides prescription drug coverage, but it works differently from A and B. It's not provided directly by the government, but through private insurance companies that offer Medicare-approved prescription drug plans, PDPs. You can get Part D coverage in two main ways, either by enrolling in a standalone Part D plan that works alongside original Medicare, A and B, or by choosing a Medicare Advantage plan, Part C, which we'll discuss next, that includes drug coverage. Each Part D plan has its own set of specifics, which is why choosing one requires careful attention to your individual needs. Key things to look at include the monthly premium, which varies widely between plans, the annual deductible, the amount you pay before the plan starts covering costs, though some plans have no deductible, and the co-payments or co-insurance, what you pay for each prescription after meeting the deductible. Crucially, each plan has a formulary, a list of covered drugs. It's absolutely vital to check if your specific medications are on a plan's formulary and how they are covered. Often, drugs are placed into different tiers, with lower tiers typically having lower copays than higher tiers for specialty drugs. What works perfectly for your neighbor might be a terrible fit for you if your medications aren't covered well. Part D coverage also has different phases. After you meet your deductible, if any, you'll typically pay copays or coinsurance according to your plan's structure until your total drug costs, what you pay plus what your plan pays, reach a certain limit, 5030 IE 2024. A to THISPOINTYOUEN LLPAYAPERCENTIGECURRENT Lil Y 25,530 in 2024. At this point, you enter the coverage gap, sometimes called the donut hole. In the gap, you pay a percentage, currently 8,000 in 2024. Once you hit that threshold, you enter catastrophic coverage, where you'll pay only a small coinsurance or co-payment for your drugs for the rest of the year. This structure can seem complicated, but the main takeaway is to compare plans based on your expected drug usage throughout the entire year. Missing your enrollment window for Part D when you first become eligible can also be costly. If you go without creditable prescription drug coverage considered at least as good as Medicare's, for 63 consecutive days or more after your initial enrollment period ends, you may face a late enrollment penalty added to your Part D premium for as long as you have Medicare drug coverage. Let's consider David, who takes 2 brand-name drugs and 1 generic. When comparing Part D plans, he looked beyond just the monthly premium. He used Medicare's Plan Finder tool to input his specific drugs and found that Plan A, despite a slightly higher premium, would save him hundreds of dollars over the year compared to Plan B because it covered his brand-name drugs with lower copays and had a lower deductible. Part C, Medicare Advantage. So we have Part A for hospitals, Part B for medical services, and Part D for drugs. There's one more major piece to understand. Part C, more commonly known as Medicare Advantage. These plans are offered by private insurance companies that contract with Medicare to provide your Part A and Part B benefits. Think of it as an alternative way to receive your core Medicare coverage. To enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, you must first be enrolled in both Part A and Part B, and you must continue to pay your Part B premium and Part A premium if you have one. Most Medicare Advantage plans also include prescription drug coverage, Part D, essentially bundling A, B, and D into one plan. Many also offer extra benefits not covered by original Medicare, such as routine dental care, vision exams and eyeglasses, hearing aids, and gym memberships like silver sneakers. These bundled benefits and potentially lower out-of-pocket costs are often the main attractions of MA plans. However, there are important trade-offs. Most Medicare Advantage plans operate with provider networks, such as health maintenance organizations, HMOs, or preferred provider organizations, PPOs. With an HMO, you generally must use doctors, hospitals, and other providers within the plan's network, except for emergencies. You might also need a referral from your primary care physician to see specialists. PPOs offer a bit more flexibility, allowing you to see out-of-network providers, but you'll typically pay significantly more than if you stayed in-network. This is quite different from original Medicare, where you can generally go to any doctor or hospital in the country that accepts Medicare. Medicare Advantage plans may also require prior authorization for certain services or procedures, meaning the plan must approve the service before you receive it for it to be covered. While MA plans must cover everything original Medicare covers, they can have different rules and cost-sharing structures, though they do have an annual maximum out-of-pocket limit for Part A and B services, which original Medicare alone does not. The availability of specific MA plans, their costs, benefits, and provider networks can vary greatly depending on where you live. Consider Martha, who liked the idea of an MA plan with dental and vision coverage included. She found a plan with a low premium. However, when she needed to see a cardiologist for a specific issue, she found the specialist her primary doctor recommended wasn't in her plan's network, requiring her to either find a different cardiologist within the network or face much higher costs going out of network, if her plan allowed it at all. This highlights the need to carefully check the provider network and rules before enrolling in an MA plan, and to reevaluate it each year as networks and benefits can change. Enrollment. When and how. Understanding the parts is crucial, but knowing when you need to act is just as important to avoid potential pitfalls like coverage gaps and lifetime penalties. Initial Enrollment Period, IEP. This is your main window to sign up for Medicare. It's a 7-month period that starts 3 months before the month you turn 65, includes the month you turn 65, and ends 3 months after the month you turn 65. If you're already receiving Social Security benefits before 65, you'll likely be automatically enrolled in Part A and Part B with coverage starting the first day of the month you turn 65. If not, you need to proactively enroll during your IEP. This is the time to sign up for Part A, if not premium-free, and you want it. Part B, if you want it, delaying can cause penalties unless you qualify for a special enrollment period, and choose how you want to get your drug coverage, Part D, and whether you want original Medicare, possibly with Medigap, or a Medicare Advantage plan, Part C. Missing this window, especially for Part B and D without other creditable coverage, can lead to lifelong premium penalties. Special Enrollment Period, SEP. If you or your spouse are still working past 65 and have health insurance through that current employer, the employer must meet certain size requirements. You might choose to delay enrolling in Part B and possibly Part A if you'd have to pay a premium without penalty. When that employer coverage ends, or you stop working, you'll typically have an 8-month special enrollment period to sign up for Part B without penalty. There are SEPs for other situations too, like moving out of a plan's service area or losing Medicaid eligibility. General Enrollment Period, GP. If you didn't sign up for Part B during your IEP and don't qualify for an SEP, you can sign up during the General Enrollment Period, which runs from January 1st to March 31st each year. However, coverage won't start until July 1st of that year, and you will likely face a late enrollment penalty for Part B, a permanent addition to your monthly premium. Annual Open Enrollment Period, AEP. This happens every year from October 15th to December 7th. This is a critical period for everyone with Medicare. During AEP, you can switch from Original Medicare to a Medicare Advantage plan. Switch from a Medicare Advantage plan back to Original Medicare. Switch from one Medicare Advantage plan to another. Join a Medicare Part D prescription drug plan. Switch from one Part D plan to another. Drop your Part D coverage completely. Changes made during AEP take effect on January 1st of the following year. Because Part D and MA plan costs, benefits, formularies, and provider networks can change significantly each year, it's highly recommended that you review your coverage every fall during AEP to make sure your current plan still meets your needs and budget for the upcoming year. Medicare Advantage Open Enrollment Period from January 1st to March 31st each year. If you're already enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan, you have a one-time opportunity to switch to a different MA plan or switch back to Original Medicare. And you can also enroll in a Part D plan if you switch back to Original Medicare. So the core decision often boils down to this. Do you want the broad provider access of Original Medicare, Parts A and B, likely paired with a separate Part D plan for drugs, and potentially a Medigap, Medicare supplement insurance, policy to help cover the deductibles and co-insurance? Or do you prefer the potentially lower premiums and bundled extra benefits of a Medicare Advantage plan, Part C, accepting the trade-offs of network restrictions and potential utilization management like referrals and prior authorizations? There's no single right answer. The best path depends entirely on your individual health status, medication needs, budget, tolerance for risk, and preference for provider choice versus managed care. Making this choice thoughtfully during your enrollment periods is key to setting yourself up for success with Medicare. We'll explore how to weigh these options and final considerations in our concluding thoughts. So, we've journeyed together through the landscape of Medicare, haven't we? We started by acknowledging that feeling of perhaps being a little lost in a complex system, a feeling shared by so many as they approach this important stage of life. We recognized that understanding Medicare isn't just about navigating bureaucracy. It's fundamentally about securing your access to health care, protecting your finances, and ensuring your peace of mind for the years ahead. Now, let's take a moment to gather the threads of our conversation, weaving them together into a clearer picture and reflecting on what it all means for you. We broke down the core components, starting with Original Medicare. Remember Part A, the hospital insurance? For most of us, this comes without a monthly premium, a benefit earned through years of working and contributing. It's our safety net for inpatient hospital stays, limited skilled nursing facility care following a hospital stay, hospice, and some home health services. But we also noted it's not entirely free when you use it. There's that significant deductible for each benefit period, and potential daily costs if your stay extends beyond certain thresholds. It provides a crucial foundation, but often leaves gaps in coverage that need addressing. Then we explored Part B, the medical insurance side of Original Medicare. This is what covers the bulk of your everyday healthcare needs outside of inpatient hospitalization. Your doctor visits, specialist consultations, outpatient tests, lab work, preventive screenings, and essential medical equipment. We learned that Part B does come with a standard monthly premium for almost everyone, potentially higher based on income, and it carries an annual deductible. Perhaps most importantly, after meeting that deductible, you're generally responsible for 20% of the Medicare-approved costs for most services, with no annual limit on that out-of-pocket spending. That 20% co-insurance is a key factor that drives many people to seek additional coverage, because unexpected or chronic health issues could lead to substantial costs under Part B alone. Recognizing that neither Part A nor Part B typically covers the medications you pick up at the pharmacy, we turned our attention to Part D, the prescription drug coverage. We established that this coverage is delivered through private insurance plans, either as a standalone plan alongside original Medicare or bundled into a Medicare Advantage plan. We highlighted the critical importance of comparing these plans based on your specific medication list, considering not just the monthly premium, but also the deductible, co-pays/co-insurance for your drugs within the plan's formulary, and the potential journey through the coverage gap or donut hole. We also stressed the significance of timely enrollment to avoid the lifetime late enrollment penalty if you lack other creditable drug coverage. Choosing the right Part D plan requires annual vigilance, as formularies and costs change. Finally, we discussed Part C, or Medicare Advantage. We understood this as an alternative pathway offered by private insurers, bundling Part A, Part B, and usually Part D benefits into one plan. These plans often attract members with lower initial costs and extra perks like dental, vision, or hearing benefits. However, we carefully considered the trade-offs. Most MA plans operate with provider networks, HMOs or PPOs, potentially limiting your choice of doctors and hospitals, and they may require referrals or prior authorizations for services. While they offer an annual out-of-pocket maximum for Part A and B services, which original Medicare lacks, navigating their rules and ensuring your preferred providers are included is essential. The choice between original Medicare, perhaps with Medigap and Part D, and Medicare Advantage is a deeply personal one, weighing provider freedom against potentially lower costs and bundled benefits. Equally crucial as understanding these parts is knowing when to act. We mapped out the key enrollment periods, that vital 7-month initial enrollment period around your 65th birthday, the window where most foundational decisions are made to avoid penalties. We discussed the special enrollment periods that allow flexibility if you continue working with employer coverage past 65 or experience other qualifying life events. We noted the general enrollment period as a fallback option for Part B, albeit with potential delays and penalties. And perhaps most importantly for ongoing management, we emphasized the annual election period, AEP, from October 15th to December 7th, your yearly opportunity to review your coverage, compare plans, and make changes to ensure your Part D or Medicare Advantage plan still fits your needs for the coming year. This annual review isn't just a suggestion. It's a vital step in proactively managing your healthcare coverage as your needs or the available plans evolve. Now, stepping back from the specifics, what does navigating Medicare really mean in the broader context of your life? It's about more than just understanding rules and deadlines. It's about taking an active role in safeguarding your future health and financial stability. The choices you make regarding Medicare coverage can have long-lasting implications. Opting for a plan that aligns well with your health needs, budget, and preferences can provide immense comfort and security. Conversely, delaying enrollment or choosing a plan without fully understanding its limitations could lead to unexpected costs or barriers to care down the road. This isn't meant to cause anxiety, but rather to underscore the value of the effort you put into understanding your options now. Think of it as tending to a garden. You need to prepare the soil, understand the basics, choose the right seeds, select appropriate coverage, plant them at the right time, enroll during the correct periods, and then continue to water and weed. Review your coverage annually. It requires some attention, yes, but the result, a flourishing garden, or in this case, reliable healthcare access, is well worth the effort. Your health needs might change over time. What works perfectly for you today might need adjustment in 5 or 10 years. That's why the annual review period is so valuable. It gives you the chance to adapt, ensuring your coverage continues to serve you well as your life circumstances evolve. Approaching Medicare with a proactive mindset, rather than viewing it as a one-time decision you make and forget, is key to long-term success and peace of mind. It's completely normal if, even after our discussion, some aspects still feel a bit complex. Remember that friend I mentioned, helping her father at the kitchen table covered in papers? They eventually found their way through it piece by piece. You can too. You don't have to become an expert overnight, and you certainly don't have to navigate this entirely alone. There are resources available to help you compare plans and understand the details. Trustworthy sources like the official Medicare website, Medicare.gov, offer plan comparison tools and detailed explanations. Don't hesitate to seek clarification or assistance if you need it. The goal is informed confidence. Feeling empowered in this process comes from recognizing that you do have choices. You have the agency to select the path, Original Medicare or Medicare Advantage, that feels right for you. You have the power to compare drug plans based on your specific needs. You have the opportunity each year to reassess and make changes. This isn't something that just happens to you. It's a system you can actively navigate and manage. See Medicare not as a burden, but as the valuable benefit it is, a cornerstone of health security that you've contributed to throughout your working life. Embracing this perspective can shift the feeling from one of obligation or confusion to one of proactive self-care and responsible planning. It's about taking control of a vital aspect of your well-being. Think about the freedom that comes with knowing you're prepared. When you have confidence in your healthcare coverage, it frees up mental and emotional energy. You can focus more on the things that bring you joy, spending time with family and friends, pursuing hobbies, traveling, learning new things, or simply relaxing and enjoying your retirement. Worrying less about potential healthcare costs allows you to live more fully in the present. Taking the time now to understand Medicare, make informed choices, and plan for annual reviews is an investment in that future freedom and quality of life. It's a profound act of self-reliance and foresight. So, as we conclude our conversation, I hope you feel more grounded and less uncertain about the world of Medicare. It has its complexities, yes, but broken down into its parts, A, B, C, and D, and understood through its enrollment timelines, it becomes manageable. Remember the key differences, the cost structures, the importance of comparing plans based on your unique situation, and the critical need to act within the designated enrollment periods to avoid penalties. Most importantly, remember that you are in the driver's seat. You have the ability to learn, to choose, and to manage your Medicare coverage effectively. Let this knowledge serve not as a source of stress, but as a tool for empowerment. Approach your Medicare decisions with thoughtful consideration, review your coverage regularly, and embrace the peace of mind that comes from knowing you've taken responsible steps to protect your health and financial well-being. You've earned this benefit, and navigating it wisely is simply the next step in ensuring a secure and fulfilling retirement. may you move forward with confidence, clarity, and the assurance that you are well equipped to manage this important aspect of your life.